So this morning, I've come to Cowdray Park in West Sussex to see some rather splendid oak trees, and you can probably see behind me here a rather ancient looking oak, and I'll go and talk to you a bit about why this oak tree is so incredible. Let's go and take a look. Estimated to be over 1,000 years old, the Queen Elizabeth oak has grown to a staggering girth of more than 13 metres. What I love most about these ancient trees is their significance and wonder, having stood here in the same location for centuries, seeing countless generations of people pass by. In its early days, perhaps not much attention was given to this tree, as with most young trees, we can walk past without giving it another thought. Yet those who witnessed this tree's early years had no idea of how grand and venerable it would become. In June 2002, to celebrate Queen Elizabeth II's Golden Jubilee, the tree was designated one of 50 Great British trees in recognition of its place in the national heritage. Now, reflecting on its millennium of life, it may have become old and rotten, but despite its age, one could argue it has reached the most important stage of its life, ancient tree status. When oaks reach around 400 years old, they are considered ancient. And this milestone also reflects a long life of hardship, surviving cold harsh winters, hot dry summers, and enduring everything else Mother Nature throws its way. This often leads to dead branches and consequently the dieback and decay of the canopy and main trunk of the oak. But this is not necessarily a bad thing. Ecologically, this is hugely beneficial to wildlife, providing habitats for a wide range of fungi, lichens, insects and small mammals. There is another neighbouring oak that is of similar age. This one is appropriately named the Lady in Waiting. Decaying wood can create natural windows in ancient trees, occasionally allowing you to view one ancient tree through the hollow of another. There is one last ancient oak I would like to show you, and there's not much of this one left. The age of this one is hard to determine because there is so little of the tree left. An age of 800 years is quite possible, and it could be older still. The shape is quite extraordinary, being wide from one view and narrow when viewed side on, giving the tree a flat, almost two-dimensional appearance. While most trees stand bare in winter, some oaks hold on to their brown dead leaves in a display called marcescence, waiting for the spring before letting go of their previous year's leaves. Sadly, my time is now up with these ancient oaks. But their story is far from over. The British landscape is defined by the oak. It supports more life than any other native tree and is intertwined in our history. Thanks to our ancient hunting forests, England alone now holds more ancient oaks than the rest of Europe combined. If you're interested in finding an ancient tree near you, you can visit the Woodland Trust's Ancient Tree Inventory website. This is an interactive map showing where ancient trees are right across the United Kingdom. You can even record your own trees and add them to the database. Until the next tremendous adventure, goodbye for now. Now, just before I say goodbye, even though I've just said goodbye, I just want to show you some cool trees down here. I see an old lime tree full of mistletoe, so let's go and have a closer look. Let's go. Alright, I've arrived at the lime tree. Well, there's actually two of them actually. And they are really big, really big. Some of the biggest ones I've seen. And my guess is they're common limes, Tilia europea, the hybrid between small leaf and large leaf lime. Just because of the shape. I mean, there's not much to go on. There's not much epicormic growth. There's a little bit, but I can't be sure if it is Tilia europea, the common lime. But that is my guess. But it's absolutely loaded with mistletoe. It's absolutely full of it. And they're really tall trees, really, really tall. This one in front of me here is the taller out of the two. But wow, it's got a massive, massive trunk. And as often happens with limes when they get older, you get what's called a fluted trunk, where you get these big grooves in the trunk here. And wow, yeah, absolutely incredible. And just beneath my feet here, I can see lots of fruits from the mistletoe. The ground's covered in fruits and berries from the mistletoe. And I'll just show you a closer look at the trunk of this big old lime tree behind me. Alright, I'm now approaching the trunk of this big, big, big lime tree. Look at this. Hopefully that gives you a sense of scale. Because it's big, it's extremely big, and very tall as well. And I'm just going to take you up close to see what I mean by a fluted trunk. So come have a look. Okay, so this is up close of the trunk, and this is what I mean by a fluted trunk. You see these roots where they sort of buttress out, and they go in between each root. That is fluting. A fluted trunk right there. And also I'll show you these berries on the ground. Let me put it on autofocus, and I'll zoom in. There we go. Hopefully you can see these berries on the ground. These are from the mistletoe, and this tree is full of mistletoe. Hopefully you can see that. Absolutely loaded with loads and loads and loads and loads of mistletoe, which is a parasitic plant growing directly off the tree. So there we go. So I just wanted to show you that quickly before I head off, and yeah, hope you enjoyed this little excursion to see this old, oh gosh, rather rotten, on this side, rather rotten old lime. So yeah, cheers folks, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Just want to show you another example of a mistletoe. This one's growing on this tree here, which is some sort of species of sorbus, possibly a Sorbus orchiparia, a rowan. And this is a young, fairly youngish piece of mistletoe, and you can see where it's directly coming off the tree. And there again. So it comes directly off the tree, and actually I think we have a young piece just here, just starting to grow. This little bit just here is a young piece of mistletoe, and it lives off the host tree, so this is living off this sorbus here. And I think this one's also got young flowers. These bits here, I believe, are the flowers just starting to open. And it's also got its own leaves, so it's, I believe, semi-parasitic. I believe it generates some of its energy itself, some of its sugars, but also it lives off the host plant, I think, for things like water and other things. But yes, there is an example of a mistletoe, and it's quite an interesting looking plant. Fascinating.